About the Wall Street thing, yeah, I mean, it's the idea that, so the kid didn't like the response. I agree, he didn't like the response. He probably really likes, he's one of the few people in the country.
Fuck that kid.
No, that's what I'm saying. He sees Hillary getting the donations, he's like, oh, well.
Yeah.
And there's one of him for every 1,000 voters who are like, no, Wall Street fucked us. I want you to take it seriously. And if the kid really gets a thrill out of gambling, he can take a train into Connecticut, and there's Mohegan Sun, Foxwoods, and he can gamble there with all the money he makes on Wall Street.
Yeah.
He doesn't need to do it with people's money.
Yeah.
Yeah, and I don't know why. I think Bernie did a great job on that answer. I mean, the kid basically goes, "Hi, I'd like to make a lot of money for doing not that much and exploit people and rip them off because I went to the right college, and then someone hired me at 23 so I can make $1 million at 25."
Yeah.
I mean, dude, fuck him.
Yeah.
Who cares what that guy fucking thinks?
He should have said that.
I had a guy like that. A guy like that went to my school, okay? He went to like Dartmouth, and then he worked at Goldman Sachs, and he worked at Google, makes millions of dollars, and his mom was like a high school guidance counselor. And then after having that job steadily till she was 70 years old, the school finally let her go, and he writes to all the other alumni, he goes, "I'm not giving a dime to the school because they let my mom go." And it's like, motherfucker, you made millions of dollars exploiting people, forcing them out of their fucking jobs, making a buck off people, and then your mom, who had a steady job for 40 years, and you got plenty of money to fucking support her, you want to fuck the school because she had to retire 5 years after most people are already forced out. People who work in that field, they have no fucking empathy, and fuck that guy, man, from Ohio State.
Okay.
Fuck him being a banker.
You're definitely feeling the burn today. There's no question about that, and I love it.
Wow.
Yeah, and look, we need to do something to stop the predatory lending that's happening right now, especially within the housing market. We're seeing the exact same behavior again. Do your research, look into it. I'm obsessed with the housing market. And subprime mortgages are still being given out, specifically targeted toward minorities who don't make enough money to pay for those mortgages, right? So
it's not that they don't make enough money. They don't have the financial knowledge because they go to the public fucking school system, which teaches people nothing about financial literacy.
Well, that's absolutely
true. So then they're taking advantage of.
Focus on that, absolutely. There's no question. But it's just incredible. It's not that they don't make enough money. It's just that they're given mortgages that these lenders know that they're not going to be able to pay back. Right? These are mortgages, mortgages where, of course, the interest rate is going to fluctuate. And so they have no idea what they're getting themselves into. So that's the issue.
But the bank does, because the bank collects insurance when they default. So the bank's getting their money either way, but they just got this sucker to pour a couple years' money in, then they get the house and they get the federal cash on their loan. Yeah. It's insane. If people knew the reality of it, they'd be fucking outraged.
Yeah, well, I'm outraged.
By the way, I have another metaphor that might be better than my fire one that Chiquiko Sayatome sent in. Another metaphor for you: if you catch a disease, then treating that disease instead of its many symptoms isn't being narrow-focused.
Yeah, that's a great quote, absolutely.
Yeah. But the problem is that in that metaphor, there's nobody who has a vested interest in you staying sick, except for, actually, the same as in the real world, the insurance companies. They just want you to stay sick so they can keep getting money off of it.
No, that's true. And, just one more second on that fucking kid.
Yeah.
Is if someone said, "I'd like to practice medicine and I can't. I'd like to teach and I can't. I'd like to be a physicist and I can't, but I'd like to fucking rip people off as a banker."
Yeah.
Fuck him, man.